This is the Keeping Your Money Show with Jamie Westenbarger and Bart Steidler.
All right, welcome back to the Keeping Your Money Show. This is Jamie Westenbarger, joined as always by Bart Steidler. If you're just tuning in, we were discussing about 5 questions to ask before you hire a financial advisor. And we're kind of keeping to a theme today, talking about the idea that, maybe you finally decided it is time for you to get help in your financial situations. And maybe you've never walked into a financial advisor's office before. Maybe you don't come from a background where your family ever really had a financial advisor. How do you make that first step as comfortable as possible and feel like you're going in prepared for what sometimes can feel a little intimidating situation?
Yeah. It kind of reminds me, I had a lunch earlier this week with another person in our industry, and he was from Ohio, and we were kind of having some conversations about things like this. And he said he was in a meeting, and there were 11 people, and they were all worked in a manufacturing plant together that were at this meeting, and he went and spoke to them. And one of the first things he said is, has anybody here ever met with a financial advisor? And none of them raised their hand. Mm-hmm. And he goes, well, when you're looking for financial advice, and he goes, what do you guys do? And they all pointed to one guy at the table.
That works with them.
That works with them. Yeah. And then he said, well, what if he's wrong? And the guy goes, yeah. He goes, I'm not an expert in this stuff. I just thought we were, hashing things out around the lunch table,
Right.
So,
right.
It's just kind of a eye-opening thing.
Yep, absolutely. If you missed any part of the show, maybe you missed last segment, you want to learn more about some of the questions we were posing, you can find them on our Facebook page. Go to facebook.com/keepingyourmoney. Or, of course, you can find it on our website. Go to keepingyourmoney.com. And we do post all of our old shows and podcasts there. You can, of course, call us anytime. Our toll-free number is 888-98-MONEY. That's 888-986-6639. Someone does answer that call 24 hours a day. We don't take calls on the air, though, just so you know. But you're welcome to call if you have a question for us. Maybe you want to sit down and do a review of what you've got going on. We're happy to give you a buzz back as soon as possible. So let's talk about credibility, because, we've been on a little bit of a soapbox the last couple months about the lack of credibility by a number of people in our industry, and I use the word industry very loosely, that kind of put themselves out to the public as retirement experts, or kind of insinuate they're financial advisors. They call them things like financial professional, which is a way to kind of make it sound official, but not actually call yourself something you're not. Mm-hmm. And many times some of these individuals are purely just insurance agents who don't have the licensing, education, or background to actually be able to help you other than buy an insurance product that they're selling.
Right.
And I think it's one of the things I think a lot of times is that is intimidating when you're going to seek out a financial professional is how do I know this person's credible? How do I know this guy isn't the next Bernie and Madoff, or this girl isn't like the guy I work with, bought some annuity he can't get out of for the next 20 years with because he went to a dinner seminar, and it is important to figure out how do you wade through all the information to get to the information that actually helps you figure out who somebody's going to take care of you.
Yeah, I've seen a commercial on TV a couple times, and the guy is sitting down and he's getting a tattoo, and he says, "Well, are you the best tattoo guy?" And he goes, "Well, I'm all right,
Yeah.
And then the guy
starts,
the one
with the doctor like that too.
Yeah, and the guy starts asking a bunch of questions, and the tattoo guy says, "Well, hey, stay in your lane, buddy."
Right.
So this stay in your lane thing is kind of apropos to what we're talking about here, because when you get someone who is an insurance agent and he's trying to be your retirement advisor, he's not staying in his lane.
Right.
Okay. And are insurance products necessary for a lot of people? Absolutely. Are insurance products the way you should plan your whole investment strategy for a vast majority of the people I've talked to? Absolutely not.
Well, I mean, I think it's true. You go to your accountant. A lot of us just met with our CPAs in the last few months or whatever to do our taxes. Mm-hmm. If your accountant has a financial professional there, that's one thing. If your accountant is trying to give you financial advice, that's another thing. He's your accountant. Let's just stay there.
Right.
If your car insurance agent is trying to introduce you to how you can put money away in an IRA, probably not the right person to be having that conversation with, right?
Right.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing. You have you have situations that maybe you're okay in, but you don't necessarily need to advise on everything. A perfect example. I'll never forget this. 10 years ago, my wife's grandmother has to have surgery. She needs a pacemaker put in. And I said, oh, she lives in a small town up north. And I said, is the person doing it? I mean, should we look them up? And she goes, yeah, maybe we should, because they're not real good at doing that on their own. And so we kind of Google to look for this guy and everything. And I go, he's a general surgeon. Like, he's not even a cardiologist. Now, I understand a pacemaker is a little more routine today than it was, years ago.
It's not like heart bypass surgery.
Right. So, but I talked to her grandma, and her grandma says, oh yeah, he's the guy that did my hip replacement. I trust him. I don't know if the guy that did your hip replacement's the guy you should be putting your pacemaker in. I mean, those are two very good skills to have. I don't know that they cross-reference one another really well.
You might end up with a pacemaker in your hip.
Or a hip in your heart. I don't know. But there's a perfect example. Like, saying that your CPA shouldn't be your financial advisor is not saying he's not a good CPA. It's just maybe he's not a good financial. It's difficult to be good at two different things. Like, we will recommend you to someone who will take a great care of you when it comes to your insurance. We will not sell you insurance. We're not insurance people. We're financial advisors.
Right.
Your insurance guy shouldn't be trying to handle your IRA. It just doesn't make sense.
Yep.
So, researching their background, making sure the person you're talking to is licensed with the SEC or FINRA, has a track record of being in the industry for a long time. Somebody could have got licensed a week ago and be able to talk to you about the exact same things that somebody who's been in this business like myself for 20 years, Well, our experience and knowledge is going to be vastly different. And there really won't be anything about them that jumps out at you, Check their credentials. There are so many initials in our industry that go on the back of somebody's name. There's some that can be good. It doesn't automatically mean that person's okay.
Right.
There's plenty of people with credentials at the end of their name that have done dumb or bad things, but some of these initials are completely worthless. I mean, they mean nothing.
I actually would take somebody who really cares and listens well and crafts something for you that's an individual plan over somebody with a bunch of initials that pulls the same, basically the same investment off the shelf and puts every one of their clients in it.
Well, and I guess I would wonder, what does that designation mean for me? Like, there's a very well-respected designation called Chartered Financial Analyst. It's somebody
Right.
that usually puts together portfolios, is very analytical. They might be great at crafting portfolios and structures, but depending on who you are and what you need, I would kind of be asking them, well, how does that benefit me and what I need? Like, why is that important? I mean, it's great you have it, but why does that help me? It may or it may not. Something like a CFP, a certified financial planner, the organization that puts it out wants it to be the CPA of our industry, but it's not. It covers a lot of things like budgeting and balancing your checkbook and paying off debt. Well, I mean, maybe those things just don't apply to you. If they don't, then it's a little less important. But that being said, those are two really good designations, at least that have a ton of education and training behind them. There are some out there that are just junk. You go somewhere, you go to a Holiday Inn Express for the weekend and listen to some guy talk Friday and Saturday. You take an OPA book test on Sunday, and now you can throw some initials on the end of your name. Those are the ones you want to watch out for, because they mean nothing. There's somebody that has very little experience probably trying to give themselves a lot more credibility than they really deserve.
Right. And you got to think, what is the motivation of the person who goes and gets that? The motivation is I wanted to do marketing, and I want to make myself, sound better than I really
create
am.
Credibility, right?
I want to create credibility. Well, the best way to create credibility in my mind is to just, be credible.
Right.
Do people right, listen to what their issues are, listen to what they need, and craft a solution for them. And
Yep.
that's how you build credibility.
You can search for awards and recognition. You can look for thought leadership online. Great way to do this is just Google the person's name. You find out so much by Googling someone's name. Are they published? Are they contributors to financial magazines? Are they contributors to websites? Do they contribute content that other people in the industry, pay attention to and look at? have they received awards? Now, be aware that some of the awards are worth more than others, obviously. The one that always makes me think of is that best doctors in whatever city. It's always on the airplane in that magazine.
Right.
I mean, that is 100% paid for.
Right.
I always go back to, I'm not going to say the city or anything, but I worked in a city when I was in college at a car dealership, and they called one day, and I answered the phone, and the guy said, "Listen, great news! You've made our best of list for 1998 or whatever, And I said, "Oh, wow, that's great, And I said, "Well, the owner's not here. Can I have him give you a call back?" And he says, "Yeah." He goes, "But he's got to get back with us by Friday, or we'll move on to the next person." Well, what do you mean you move on to the next person? Well, basically, you were the best of as long as you agreed to buy advertising from them.
Right.
If you didn't buy advertising from them, they were moving on to the next best of, So it could take till the sixth person before someone agreed to write a check, and they would be best of. Well, that's kind of sixth best of, It doesn't quite the same thing. So make sure the awards and recognition are actually worthwhile.
I tell you another thing I would look out for is most assets under management.
Yeah,
that doesn't.
So many awards are based on that too, which doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. It means if a guy is has the most assets under management, the chances that you're actually going to meet that guy or that he's actually going to work with you are pretty slim. You are probably going to work with somebody who works for him.
Well, and and that's the other thing. What's it based on? I mean, if we combine the assets under management of our entire company, it would be a really impressive number.
Right.
But I think that's kind of disingenuous to say that. If somebody asked what we personally manage, the number would be very different because we have 12 advisors that work for it. I mean? So, yeah.
Another thing, too, is to find out if a guy works independently or if he works as part of a team. So, succession plan and what's going to be there when he's not there and so forth.
Yep. We can talk about that more in a minute. We're going to take a quick break. We come back with, is your financial advisor truly independent? How do you determine that? Right here on the Keeping Your Money Show.
The ups and downs of a roller coaster are fun for some people, but maybe too nerve-wracking for others. The same is true for the ups and downs of the stock market. If your palms sweat when the market fluctuates, it may be time to reevaluate your investment choices. The ride to your financial future shouldn't keep you awake at night. Call the Keeping Your Money Show at 1-888-98-MONEY to get off the roller coaster and onto solid ground.